everybody. It's Jamie Migdal, founder and CEO of that company, Fetch Find. And today I'm here to talk to you about the next stage. We've been talking about socialization. We've been talking about getting dogs' attention. And today we're going to put some of those pieces together and we're going to work on leash walking. So I live in Chicago, and the reason I mention that is because Chicago, it's raining and cold out today, so we had planned, of course, a live demo outside, figured out the Wi-Fi issue, and we're going to go outside, but not going to work. So we're going to do this in two parts. Today will be part one. So today is going to be the academic approach to leash walking. We'll talk about theories, and we'll talk about equipment. In fact, in front of me, you can't see it, I've got every piece of equipment, generally speaking, that we would look at and consider for dog walking. And then whether it doesn't matter the age of your dog, we're going to go ahead and speak globally and generally. And also this is good for people who are dog walking for a living or considering dog walking for a living. And of course, people with multiple dogs, there's things we can talk about around that too. But really, the whole idea today is to break down all of the pieces of equipment that you can use, some of which I know you already do, and then talk about the application for some of those tools, because not all tools are made equal and not all tools are made for the same dog under the same circumstance. So we're going to go ahead and get right into this. At some point, we're going to do a little bit of a demo, and I'll have Sassy, my dog, join us a little bit later. All right, so we're going to start with the very basic requirements that you would need, or the very basic equipment that you'll need to head out into the yonder, the great out west. All right, first things first. This is a roll of poop bags. And poop bags, I think, and I wasn't going to show them, but I thought, you know what? Yeah, because there's so many different kinds of poop bags. There's recycled poop bags, there's earth-friendly poop bags, there's really inexpensive poop bags that you can get on Amazon. There's any poop bag. Just use a poop bag. I think that's the first place to start. Jewel bag or grocery bag, something in your pocket, a leaf, a stick in a leaf, the chopstick version. Has anyone done the chopstick poop pickup? I know you have. I mean, I've done it more times than I would like to admit. Whatever it is, being a good citizen is about picking up all of the poop that your dog leaves behind. If it's diarrhea, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there. If it's diarrhea, best you can do with diarrhea is really, it's a two-part deal. So diarrhea, you're going to take your poop bag. I know if you love that we're doing a demo, this was not planned. And I'm not going to actually show you diarrhea. I'm going to ask you to use your imagination on this part. So you'll grab your bag, grab up as much as you can. Maybe you'll need 2, 3, 4 bags. But then the idea here is that you let people know. And so the best way, after you've picked up your diarrhea and there's some like diarrhea residue, because that's going to happen, find that stick that you maybe would have used for the chopstick method, find a stick and put it there. You don't need to put a sign or have any sort of strobe lights, but it's just nice to give people an idea that there's something that they might want to stay away from, and their dog, for sanitation reasons, would want to stay away from. So there's a little tip for good canine citizen and human citizen dog walking. All right, so outside of poop bags, and I will show you poop bag holders when we get to the leash part of our programming. Next, this is for me a ride or die situation, which is our little handy dandy. Whoa, that was really obnoxious. Flashlight for night and evening walks, and you don't need to do the strobe. This one has multiple little things, and this was like $6 at REI, I think. Really easy. You can clip it onto your leash. You can put it in your pocket. Most people don't live in big urban settings that have big street lights and things, so flashlights are great. And if you wanted to get a bigger flashlight that you can also use as a weapon, well, here you go. This is just a little bit of a bigger version. Same idea. Love a flashlight. It should be a part of your walking repertoire, because also, remember that whole diarrhea thing? It's your diarrhea spotter. All right. Next, we're going to move on to, speaking of evening. So this collar is probably one of my favorite dog pieces of equipment ever. This is a safety thing for your actual dog. It's dark out. This is a collar that you would place around their neck. This is for my collie, who's about 65 pounds, right around their neck, and it will help you to spot them. And if they get off leash, or if you happen to walk your dog off leash, which we'll talk about that another time, then this is a nice tool to have. This was on Chewy. I think it was $20. I don't even know what it's called, but it does have a micro USB charger, which I just leave plugged in with the rest of my stuff. So it's always ready to go. And it's also really fun. So you can do like different colors. You can do solid colors. This is probably like something I love so much. All right, there you go. All right, I'm gonna turn it off. And we'll move on to what your dogs, the only thing your dogs care about is this, right? This. Don't leave home without them, because every walk, all right, you know what? Not every walk. Many walks are a good opportunity to reinforce behaviors. And you notice that I don't say reinforce training, we reinforce behaviors. Training is actually the activity or the way that we reinforce behaviors, but we're not ever reinforcing our training. And if you can think about it like that, it helps you to sort of frame what you are achieving or what you're looking to achieve as far as it relates to your dog and their behaviors outside on leash. What you want for them in the house is potentially very different from what you want from what you want from them or expect from them out of the house. The rules are different, the setting is different, the stimuli levels are different. There's other dogs, there's kids, there's people, there's smells, there's a whole bunch of stuff happening. And so you can't expect the same amount of focus or attention that you might get in the house, which is why we'll do some exercises. I have some tips and tricks up my sleeve to help you work on that behavior of getting attention. And really, when it comes to working with treats outside, you just need to. There's no other tool in the world, and you may have seen it last week, that's going to keep and get and keep your dog's attention outside on a leash other than a bag of whatever it is. Last week we talked about, there's packaged treats that are small and little that you can squeeze up. You can use eggs, cereal, hot dogs, turkey, bacon, enchiladas, whatever is going to be easy for your dog to digest. That's what you want to stick in your bag. Bag goes on your hip. I know, it's like, wait a minute, what am I walking out with? Am I going camping? Am I going on a recon mission? Or am I walking my dog? Just you wait. You're going to wonder the same thing. I wonder the same thing all the time. All right, next we're going to move into collars. Let me just first take a deep breath and mention that collars are a funny thing, because collars are sort of like religion. People feel very strongly about their collar choices. In the world of dog training, a little bit look behind the Wizard of Oz curtain. There's a division between people who are professional dog trainers that use non-aversive collars. Aversive means prong collar, choke collar, or shock collar. And so between those two camps, folks that use aversives, folks that don't. Listen, I'm a science-based trainer. I believe that science is what we should use to elicit behaviors or exterminate behaviors. Exterminate? I don't know why I said exterminate. Well, it's ant season here, so maybe that's why. So this is what we think about. And so there are many ways to, I would say skin a cat, but I'm not going to say that because that would be totally inappropriate. There are lots of ways to bring on or eliminate behaviors. And collars are certainly a tool that you would need, especially it relates to walking. But what I'm getting at here is, I don't use prong collars, I don't use choke collars, I don't use electric collars, I use an e-collar one time in my whole career, and it was either that or the dog was going to kill a cat and then be killed himself by his owners. And I would have never wanted to see that happen, and we used it, and it was really pretty successful. The clients were amazing. They understood that that's not a tool that I ever would use, but I would use it because it's that or save a dog and a cat's life. It's sort of an easy choice. But I have 20 years of dog training. 20 years of dog training is the only time I've ever done it. And that would be the same for prong and choke collars. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so the next kind of collar that we'll talk about. So flat collars, I'm not going to show you that. It's just a regular buckle collar. It's either something that snaps together or it's a collar that, you can weave in. So regular traditional collar. This, however, is something called a Martingale collar. Martingale, just like it sounds, Martingale. Martingale collar. And this is a limited slip. That's the other way that people talk about it. So, because as you can see, when a leash is pulled up, it will minimize the space between your dog's neck and the actual touching of this collar. Greyhounds Greyhounds use these because they have too thin of a neck to use anything that's rough, of course, and they are very energetic and they will take off. Greyhound owners and trainers use Martingale collars. They use the thick padded kind. Maybe you've seen them walking around your neighborhood, really pretty. You can get them all artistically, go on Etsy. It's really fun. And that's a Martingale. You typically will see those on Greyhounds. But you know what, though? My dog has a Martingale collar because she's older. And a lot of times when I take her out, I will take her off leash. Fully admit that. I do it under very clear circumstances. I've never, all right, see, I'm admitting this. Should I not admit this? I don't take her off leash in like on the street. I will go down by the end of my street. I live in a cul-de-sac, and we will walk over there. She'll sniff around. There's a bunch of like shrubbery and bush, and there's a bunch of things happening. So she just sniffs around off leash. That's the collie. I do not take Sassy off leash because breeds matter. Breeds really matter. We'll talk about breeds another time. But Sassy is a terrier. You know what terriers were bred to do? They're bred to terrorize other creatures. And when you terrorize another creature, it means that you go and you follow that creature. So if Sassy's off leash and she sees a squirrel, a bird, a skunk, I can't control her. So she's never off leash. No matter how well trained she is, I will never take her off leash. Okay. Collars, more on the collars. So we did talk about prong. I'll just show you what that is because I have a responsibility, I think, to share with you all of the information, not just the information that I think is cool. So this is a prong collar, and this is a choke collar. As you see, the tags are still on it. So here's the deal, really quickly on prong collar. So when prong collars were invented, they were invented to elicit a response or stimulate a dog, create arousal, right? So this is a very arousing sort of thing to get more high drive behavior out of the dog. So the more you know. Moving on. We're going to move on to a head collar. It's called a gentle leader. You may have seen people walking around with them. Don't have a dog. I'm going to put one on right now. I'm sorry for the. Let's see if I can do it this way. Here we go. So a gentle leader. It goes around the dog's face like that, muzzle. Here's a picture of a golden retriever. Look, Mom, I can still walk around with a tennis ball. This isn't a muzzle at all. And it's not. It's actually my favorite dog tool. That, you give me the gentle leader and that light up collar and a bag of treats and a leash, I'm out of there. I'm good. So the gentle leader is simply a gentle leader. So it was created after a horse, right? The inventor of this collar. He was a horse veterinarian and then applied what he learned from handling horses and invented this tool probably about 30 years ago. And I am having a huge aphasia, which means I can't remember his name, which is super embarrassing because I've met him and I actually worked with him. Steve Dale, if you're watching this, do you remember we did that cool video together? All right, well, anyway, maybe I'll find it and post it. He's awesome and I can't remember his name, but he's like this beautiful human being. So shame on me. I'll find the video and I'll post it. Anyway, so the gentle leader is a collar that's designed to go around the dog's muzzle and simply gentle lead. When there's pressure applied on the top of the nose, at the backstop of the head, gently and sort of willowy, you dogs follow. I have met maybe there's 15% of dogs who just no matter what can't wear this. They can't tolerate it. And there could be a lot of reasons behind that. Trauma is a big reason typically, or a lack of socialization to being touched. Those are the two reasons that a dog typically won't be able to handle a gentle leader head collar. So taking those dogs and putting those aside, most dogs can do really well with a gentle leader, and it is like magic. It's like the magic tool to bring on a dog who is pulling and crazy. Put this on them and there's just a sereneness and a control that you can't get with any other tool. Speaking of other tools, I'll move on to this, which is by the same company. The company that makes the gentle leader is Pet Safe. They also make this called the Easy Walk. An Easy Walk is really just a front controlled harness with multiple points of contact and multiple places that you buckle. And then you put your leash on here and you easy walk away. Not that way, this way. And it is a really good tool. It's probably my second favorite walking tool. if I needed some more control over a dog, or they were a young puppy, or there was a lot of pulling going on, or some mobility issues for the owner, an easy walk is a really nice tool for that. And then in that same sort of category, we've got your regular everyday harnesses. These are just these are harnesses. These are back clip harnesses, padded, nice. Sassy will sometimes go out on one of these. It's sort of like a bra they step in. It's a dog bra. That's what we're called from now on, the dog bra. And it makes for a lovely little outing if your dog is not a puller. By the way, let's talk about that. Quick data point. So harnesses back in the day were actually invented for sledding dogs because there is oh my God, another aphasia. It's reverse. You press, and now the dog trainers are like, Jamie, this is what it's called. It is when you press on a dog here, their instinct, or what they'll do just physiologically, is they will push against. So mushers wanted that sort of momentum from their dogs that they had on their team, and so they created a front hook harness, opposition reflex. Woo! Opposition reflex. So if you push, you get pushed against. And so if your dog is a big puller, this is probably not the tool, because that pressure when they're walking and they're pushing against is going to just create more momentum for forward motion. All right. Now we'll move on to leashes. 2 leashes that we're talking about. We talked about this leash last week a little bit. This is an extended leash. Listen, I don't want to get into the politics on this either. They can hurt you. They can hurt your dog. They can kill your dog. They can kill other dogs. They are really dangerous tools. People still use them. There's only a couple of situations in life that I think one of these works. With a very elderly dog, I will occasionally take this out for Mimsy because she's so far behind, and I want her to take her time, and I do want her on a leash where she can't get into the streets. I mean, it's all of the safety stuff. There's so many elements and components that you'll want to keep in mind as you choose your poison. But this is really it's for a very small percentage of animals under a very specific setting. All right, this is my ride or die. This is my setup. This is actually my dog's collar, or leash rather. So this is just a 6-foot leather, really well-made harness, really good hardware. I have some knots that I put in a long time ago just for grabbing knots or for training reasons. You can put knots in so you know what 4 feet looks like, or just to get a little bit more something to grab onto if the dog starts to walk away. And at the end of the leash, I don't love leash jewelry. In fact, I sort of hate it, but I sometimes forget poop bags, even though I forget poop bags. And this is a nice way not to forget them. This is just, I don't have any in there now. I just ran out. Poop bag, you guys all know this. Poop bag goes in, screws on, pull it out. Whoop, there you go. This is a new thing that I found. I saw this at a trade show this year. I can't remember what it's called. Let's see here. The do loop. This thing is sort of amazing. At first I saw it and I was like, what's up with this? Here's what you do. And I've used it. So after you get some solid material in your bag, you loop, of course. And then what you can do is you can just stick it through, slide it down, and you can walk with it. It's so ingenious. It's so simple and so light. It doesn't add any weight to the leash. This happens to be color coordinated, not my choice. It just happened to be. So, all right, I'll just let you think that I'm not fancy. So dew loop, poop bag, ride or die leash, which is the harness, or which is the leather leash. I'm going to do a couple of quick demos, 2 demos in particular, talking about touch and watch me. That's that plus recall, and you got it made. You'll have a great dog. You'll have a great dog walk if you have a really solid watch me and a solid touch. Now, if this dog were not stuffed, I would use her. Her name is Lola, by the way. My daughter's had her since she was 1. She named her Lola after one of our friend's dogs, and who died, which I thought was really sweet. Anyway, I'll get a real dog. Give me a moment. A real dog is coming right now. Sassy? Come on, girl, we need you. Good girl. How's that for a recall? All right, friends. Sassy, what do you need? You need to learn to do some stuff today? All right. So 2 behaviors that we'll talk about. I'll do quick demos on. There'll be handouts here for you that you can download and take. They're really easy, step-by-step, good information. This is, again, for all of you folks who just got your first dog, added a dog for the first time in a long time, added a puppy, you have an older dog and you haven't had to do any training, or you just think dog training is cool and you're just gathering more information. This is all for you guys. All right, so touch. I'm just going to go ahead and go through this. So, good girl. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to encourage her to touch my hand. Good girl. And she does know this, obviously. But you know what, though? I've seen dogs pick it up this quickly. Good girl. So I'm just putting my hand out, and when she targets on my hand, I say, good girl. I follow up very quickly with a food treat. And we do that repetitively until I can get some consistency from her, because then I can use my hand to target her in different places if I like. Sassy, touch. Good girl. So I can bring her back to me. So instead of having Sassy come and use that too much, I could simply, good girl, just use my hand and get her attention. Once I have her attention, we'll go ahead and morph into Watch Me, which is probably my favorite dog training tool and behavior, because it feels really good. There's a whole bunch of people out there that would say Watch Me is blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. You know what? Screw those people. I love Watch Me. So here's what I'm going to do. Take a treat. Ideally, your dog is going to sit or some other position that allows them to be still. Good girl. Bring the treat close to her nose. Good girl. Hold it. Hold the view. Hold that eye contact for 1 second. Mark it with a good girl. I could be using my clicker instead of saying good girl. I could be doing a lot of other things. I'm just going to use good girl. Watch me. Good girl. Okay, I'm not going to start using the word watch me, although you know what, we're just going to be like at home mellow dog trainers. We're not going to get all like competitive and look to win any dog training awards. I'm going to go ahead and use the word watch me. Good girl. And I'm going to see if I can turn her around so you can see her face. Right, that's right. Right. I don't touch her very much when we dog train, as you can see. So she's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, watch me. Good girl. And as long as I have my good girl in there, I can wait for a few minutes to get the treat to her. Watch me. Good girl. Hey, you guys, that's it. That is touch. That is watch me. I know she makes it look really easy, and it's always great to have a demo dog who makes things look really, really simple, like Sassy does, because she's a super smart, trainable dog, and that's an amazing quality in you, despite the fact that just a few minutes ago you were probably up on the kitchen counter. Seriously. So a good demo dog does make things look good. But you know what, though? The handouts that we're going to give you are going to, I'll come closer, are going to help to outline some of these pieces and give you, here it is, how to teach touch. And then there's the watch me. Have fun. Those behaviors will demo in your walk later. Let's not combine them, touch, watch me, and walking. I'll show you how you use touch and how you use watch me when we go outside next week. Hopefully, I mean, it could be snowing, I guess, because it's Chicago. Let's assume it's not snowing. If it's not, we will go outside. We will bring all of this together. We'll try in some different tools, not myself, the dog, and we'll learn more stuff. So I'm here for you. I love to help people learn how to train their dog. It's a passion of mine. I feel like the world is a better place when there are well-trained dogs and people who feel informed and empowered to do the right thing by their pets and by the people around them. So that is it. I'm Jamie Migdal, and I really appreciate the time you spent with me. If you have any questions, please go ahead and comment below, and I'll make sure that I answer them later. Have a great day. Thanks.